Before going to that, I want to run a video quickly. I hope you can. I share the sound also. If you have any problem on listening the sound. Seen in the last 100 years of the changes happened in the IC engines or the transport sectors. This all the change which we've seen in the last 100 years, it can be happen in the next 10 years. A complete disruption or the complete different, the change is going to happen in the industry. It's not only automotive industry, any industry, manufacturing or process or automotive. Uh, there are many industries, but all the industries are seeing a huge change the way they are operating their business because of the high impact of the industry 4.0. Hope you are hearing this industry 4.0, the IoT, Internet of Things, this artificial intelligence, the machine learning, the big data, data analytics. So a lot of these words you are hearing about things. So many of you are thinking these are the words which are more related to the computer science and information technology, the departments to do that. It's no. The answer is no, because any industry is not now a core industry. There is no mechanical engineering core company is not existing anywhere in the world now. So normally when the placement comes to the college, we call it as a if automotive company comes means then it's a core branch. Say mechanical engineering, production engineering has to sit for the interview, and maybe some triple E students or something. And then there is a separate team companies for the circuit groups, and then separate companies for the computer science and IT departments. But if you take our company itself, we are more than 9,000 people in the Renault Nissan Business Technology Center. In that, the mechanical engineering is around 2,500 to 3,000 maximum. The rest is electronics, electrical engineers, and we have more than 2,000 software engineers along with the IT engineering. So the automotive industry is not a mechanical engineering core company. It is a multidisciplinary company. So each engineering applications are interrelated and have a close collaborative with each technologies, each engineering itself. So for the example, before starting, I have to talk about, if you see your grandparents' car, the old car still, if your grandparents are keeping it, the ambassador, so everyone knows. So just open it and see the bonnet. There will not be much many wires. It's only a mechanical operated fuel pump, mechanically operated water pump. Everything is mechanically operated or hydraulic operated systems. So they are all are industry 2.0 or industry 1.0 based vehicles. Okay, now you just go and open any small car, any car, the recently purchased car. There is nothing to touch in the vehicle. So older days, if you see 10, 15 years back, in the mobile phones, they will say there is no serviceable part inside. It means you are not authorized to open and work anything on that, because these parts are very sophisticated electronic parts. You don't have any knowledge to do it. So that is why any Maruti 800 or any ambassador cars, you can repair it at any roadside mechanic. These days, the cars are also mentioned that there is no serviceable parts inside. It means there is no outside mechanic or anybody can easily open and work on it, because every system is completely interrelated. The engine has to start means there are hundreds of signals to be verified, hundreds of electrical signals, electronic signals, and data signals to be verified before the engines to be on. So the current system is the mechanical system is completely embedded with the electronics controls. It's completely connected with the computer. Say that is what your CPU or the ECU, electronic control unit, in the car. It means a car comes out with the mechanical engineers work on the physical parts, the components, the manufacturing, all those things, assemble it, then the fuel, all those things. But this electronically control, that when to engine start, there is a anti-theft mechanism, anti-braking mechanism, virtual handling, the vehicle dynamics, electronics protocols, and your infotainment system, your air conditioning systems, and you have many headlamps, lights, beautiful tail lamps. So many electronical parts, electric parts, which are wiser. Wiser means earlier, if you say a battery, if you are not taking your car for 2 weeks or 2 months, the battery will be completely drained, and you cannot start your car. But these days, the batteries are well protected with the battery management system, the electronical management system, so that the battery will not drain as easily. It will keep the battery charge at least for cranking your engine. Okay, so it's safe that the intelligent protocol, the intelligent programming is there, where the battery charge is monitored. Even though your engine is switched off, your vehicle is, the key is out, but your battery charge is continuously monitored. At one instance, the battery leakage is protected, or the battery spending is protected for the next cranking of the engine. So these are the it's not a rocket science. It's not a artificial intelligence or machine learning. These very beautiful words and new words we are talking about. These are all the old technologies for last 10, 15 years we are following. These are also a intelligence. Okay, these are also a artificial intelligence. There's also the machine learnings. So we are giving more emphasis of taking this into the next level of next generation levels. But last 15, 20 years from the industry 3.0, we started using this intelligence. Means we have a person, say 60 years old, he is working in a company for say 30 years, 40 years, he is going to retire. Okay, so he is carrying a huge amount of knowledge going out, correct? So how to bring that knowledge to be utilized for the company? So you know the capitalization manual. So like you are writing assignments, Whatever he knows, he is writing a manual, and that manual will be recorded somewhere as a file. So this is the old way of capitalizing the knowledge. So this is also an intelligence way that we are bringing the human intelligence into the paper. Correct. So the same way, the future, this is a digital era. We are in the data world. The data, everywhere the data. So the data is taken, which is around us, and that is interpreted, manipulated, analyzed, executed, and taking the very meaningful output from that data is called artificial intelligence or machine learning. So these all are supported with not a very different science out of things. Whatever we are studying in our academics, like you studied about the probability, you studied about the basic statistics, your normal distributions, your regressions, analysis, all these are part of our curriculum, even in the mechanical engineering itself. Maybe in your numerical methods, you learned about this explicit, implicit, the iteration method, Newton-Raphson, Jacobi methods. Correct? Maybe when I am saying these words, at least you can recall. I don't know how many of you can know much better now, because after exams, it's like a camper evaporating from our head most of the time as we prepare for the exams. But these are the fundamentals of this machine learning and artificial intelligence. There is nothing magic behind these words. Okay, the basic mathematics of statistics, probability, the numerical methods, whatever the Fourier transforms, the Lagrangian transforms, what you learned in your 4th semester, 5th semester, 6th semesters. These are the basics of these all the words we are talking about, the intelligence and machine learning. Okay, so why I'm saying this is to make your anxiety go down, that this is not something new out of world, but these are essentials to do our regular job now. Means the role of engineer is make life easy, correct? So we want to make our life, people's life easy. So even many times I will share this example. Say there was a cameraman, right, in the weddings. He hold the camera in the shoulder and moving around here and there. Later he put the tripod and move here and there. Then 10 years back, there is a cranes, the big marriages, there will be big cranes holding the camera and it moving around the wedding hall and taking the videos. Now we are using a drone. Drone is invented for some other applications, for the defense, for the no man people supervising in some places. But some engineer like you or me put the camera on the drone and now using in the wedding hall. So these are like the way the engineers has to make the life easier for the people, for the cost and time for the company. So this machine learning and artificial intelligence are going to be an inseparable part of mechanical engineering, right? So this is not a just designated group of people has to work. I will say why, because when this is a separate group of people has to do means, then they need a domain knowledge of where they are going to apply. So engineering means application. So there is some methodology, AI, machine learning methodology, but they know how to develop it, but we know better that how to use it in our domain. Correct? That is way this machine learning and artificial intelligence is not a, a new word for the mechanical engineers. They have to take that technology, methodology and put it into our domain. In the domain means your fluid dynamics, in your strength and durability, mechanics of machines, or industry, production engineering, automobile engineering, anywhere you need to apply it. So this is where the machine learning and artificial intelligence are going to be an integrated part of mechanical engineering. So whoever comes out of the college, at least this kind of knowledge and ready to learn, or that kind of sub-skill sets prepared for industry could be a mandatory in the near future. Currently, it's not a mandatory. We are saying expected. A mechanical engineer having this kind of programming of Python coding, Python programming, and who can know better about the probability statistics is a desired now. We are happy to take those people. But future means not 10 years, 15 years, but recent future, maybe even you are passing out, it can be a mandatory. Mandatory means a compulsory skill, which the engineer has to pass out from the college. So I'm expecting. Okay, so with this base note, means it's a base note, but it's a foundation of why we need machine learning and artificial intelligence for the mechanical engineer. Okay, so I just take you through generic part of automotive industry. What we do as a automotive industry. Okay, so in automotive industry we have a research, advanced engineering, and product development, and then it goes for the product. So any research starts with like your plant, means plantation. Maybe some of your family might be in doing agriculture as a profession. So any land, it has to be cultivated first. So irrespective of whatever you are going to do, the soil has to be prepared, and then you need to seed some seeds for the plant, and then it has to grow and it gives a fruits or some yield will be there. Correct. So the same way the industries also can be get connected. So first, the new field. Say new field means say fuel cell cars. Very interesting, right? So fuel cell is nothing. It's not a product. Fuel cell is using what it uses is a basic electrochemistry. Correct. You know about the fuel cell electrolysis. Whatever you studied in your 6th standard or 10th standard, the high school or higher secondary school. So this is the science. Correct. That is where the soil preparation, the science and technology people will work on a new research topic, which is fundamental science. Then when it's mature, we take that science into the technology. So that is where the comes that, yeah, I know some science, and that science, how I can apply for the technology. In the technology means, okay, fuel cell as a power source. Correct. Then it's a research. Then when it goes to technology means, okay, fuel cell as a source for car. So this is what the conversion of the basic electrolysis analysis, means the chemical kinetics, is converting into a product or the power source for the car. So this way the research and then advanced engineering is a product, and then product development is the manufacturing. So this is the way the product is evolved. Okay, so I can skip here. And I just want to share you that what is the strategies in the car. I mean, this is just for understanding. As I'm from the automotive industry, I want to share that how the 4 different fields any industry will mostly focusing on. Correct. So environment is more focusing on the engine. The carbon dioxide is coming out of the vehicle. So the fuel economy, the mileage, whatever you are talking about in your car is taken care by the environment field. Then there is another field called safety. So safety is nothing but safety is nothing but you have the seat belt, the airbag, the crumbling zones. So I can easy example is in 30 years back, if the ambassador car hits on a tree at the 100-kilometer speed, what will happen? The car may be slightly damaged because it's a more robust steel-based car. Okay, the car will be less damaged, but the occupant inside almost 100% I can assure they died. This way that 30 years back the accidents are mostly happening. But today, if say a small car like Alto or my car, means a Renault car quit. So if it goes and hit on the even a small bicycle or even a lot of pictures are coming, even a car hitting on the Bullet, Royal Enfield Bullet, and the Bullet is very strong, and this car front is completely crushed, crumpled. So what is the problem here? The occupant inside the car is safe. Nothing happening to the occupant or even to the two-wheeler or wherever they hit. But the car takes all the shocks. So this is the one safety parameter. So yeah, we can have this is what this you can reading about the star rating for the safety features. Now maybe you have started hearing about this, like our electrical goods like AC and fridge. We have the 5-star, 3-star ratings, right, for the electrical consumptions. Same way the future automobile cars are going to have the star rating for the safety, 5-star, 3-star for the crash, for the hittings, whatever so. And then there will be another 5-star rating for the fuel economy, mileage. Some people say 20 kilometers, some people say 25, but there is no regulations. So government is going to bring that this car is 5-star rated for fuel economy. It will give 30 kilometers per liter. So this are going to come. So safety then comes the getting into the car, how you are feeling yourself, correct? Or you feel good, say, getting inside is like getting into the aeroplane cockpit. So getting into cockpit is very good feel, right? You have many switches, beautifully decorated, very ergonomically reachable. So maybe if you have experience of getting inside the car, some cars have an AC knob in a different. Some cars have a reachable distance of mirror adjustment. Some cars steering wheel is very comfortable to hold and ride. So these are all the life on board. When you get inside, you get a good ergonomics. Ergonomics means I'm sitting in a seat. This seat is supporting your back, supporting your neck. So how good your comfort. You are driving for another 10 hours, driving from Chennai to Tirunelveli, 600 kilometers. Are you going to get fatigued, tired, or you will feel fresh? So these are all life on board within the car, inside the car, how you are going to feel it. Then it comes the dynamic performance. Dynamic performance is how you are handling your car, your suspension, how your car is moving through a potholes, whether the shocks are easily taken. It is not passing to the customer, passenger, but the car is taking the shock and it is delivering it outside without impacting the passengers. So these are all, and how you are taking your zigzag drive in a highway. So these are all the vehicle dynamics and vehicle handling. So ride and handling. So these are the another key features, because that is also a very pleasure to drive the car, and the people move, many of the customer give importance to the dynamic performance. I need a very pleasure to drive. This car should behave as what I want. This car should not ask me to, it can pull me, I should drive it. So this is the dynamic performance. Many of the cars will have such electronically, like you are called the electronic stability program, ESB, electronic braking distribution, EBD. Lot of technical words you are hearing these days. These are all connecting to the one of these technology field to be taken. So what it is, it means these all have mechanical components. It have electronic drives, motors, many sensors and actuators. Correct? So say anti-brake system or anti-lock braking system. So what is happening in the anti-lock braking system? So when you are suddenly put the brake, your brake pad will get locked and your wheel get locked. It means you will not, it will not respond to your steering control. The wheel is locked, means it's locked at direction. So it can lead to a huge accident, and its braking limit is also not under the control. So this anti-lock braking control, what it has to do is, you have to apply the brake many times. It means you should not put it strong so that it cannot get locked. So you need to apply many times. This many times is not physically possible. Means this many times, what I am saying is 100 milliseconds. Means within 1 second you have to press it for 100 times. Are you able to do it? Physically we cannot do it. So the machine, the sensor, the actuator can do it. So this is where the mechanical system is embedded with the electrical drives, electrical systems. So when you are applying one time, even though you are braking it, but your vehicle is not applying that brake to the wheels, this electronic system is divide the things and it applies by itself like a pulsations, many pulsations. So in this way, your car is safe, your brake wheel is not going to lock. So you are safe in the bigger accidents when you are doing a emergency braking. Okay. So these all are coming with the embedding, integrating many components like mechanical components, intelligent logics, algorithms, and then some actuators and sensors. Okay. So these also a part of the intelligence we need to do it, because when we are doing this, there are some other components will get some impact. So we need to be very carefully trade-off of each systems to be work fine. Okay. So this is the kind of challenges we are seeing it in the any industry, especially I can say about the automotive industry. Okay, so for example, the car what we the bike, for example, my father got me a first bike. What is this? Splendor in the 1999. So that time the bike's cost is 44,000 K. So today also the base model is same 44,000. Maybe on the road price is 60,000, 65,000, because there are many other topics are there, means our GST, road tax, all those things government increased, but the ex-showroom prices remain same. So how it's possible? It is possible when we launch the product, we need to keep the cost and time, right? The material we are used, the bike is 100 kg or 150 kg. Now the bike is 100 kg. So we are reducing the materials with the same strength of alloys or same strength of composites. So what is the benefit? Is not only weight reduction, cost reduction, but also the fuel economy, correct? For example, you can take Ambassador cars, it's a 2 ton, 2000 kilograms. Now the cars which Alto or the smaller cars are 800 or 600 kilograms. So that is the reason we are able to give a high mileage, at the same time very optimized material, and with a very, very optimized cost for affordable cost for the common people. So these are the things where we are continuously working on how to reduce cost, how to bring the product to the market faster. All those things are one of the. The another one is compliance. We need to compliance with the government, right? We know that BS6 is coming. Actually, if there's no COVID situation, April 1st is BS6, Bharat Stage 6 emission norms. So for this, we need to comply. It means we need to add more technology. It may be a costlier for affording the common people, but we need to bring it for a cleaner environment. So management, the company has to work on the frugal way, means cheaper way. Cheaper means the frugal, means minimized way, so that the common people can also buy the technology. So this is where the emission all are putting into the compliance. Government is having some compliance. The third is competitive. Competitive means you need to be a competitive in the market, correct? So if you say a mobile phone, every month every week you are having the new launches. Same way if you see the new cars, every week or every month you can see a new launches by the companies, because whoever brings the car first with the new technology, that gains the big market. So the competitiveness of the technology, this is also applicable for the engineers. When we go for the hiring the engineers, we look up what is the unique selling point, why I need to hire this person, why I need to interview this person. It means I want to see what is unique in you. So this is the way the customer also seeing. When you're going to buy a car, say Alto is in the market, I'm going to launch a new car. It means the customer says the cost is same, the performance is same, everything is same. Then why I need to buy a new car? Means new car means new company car. I will buy the well-known Maruti car. So I need to give something new, means which is not existing in this product, but I need to give it something. So this competitive market also put the lot of pressure to think innovative, think creative, bring the product. Okay, so all these things you know about the problems in the industry, global warming, the air pollutant, the congestion, the traffic accidents. So all these are given solutions with the coming days. What we are seeing is we need to reduce the CO2 level. We need to go to the IC engine technologies, and we need to bring the electric vehicles. So electric vehicle bringing is not an easy job. It is a costly affair. Means we need to optimize the battery. The battery should be the affordable cost. So all these things is a solution, but still for the developing countries, the electric vehicle is not a complete solution, because still our energy is coming from, the electrical energy is coming from thermal power plant, where we are burning a coal and creating a lot of emissions. But the first focus is in the urban areas where the more cars are there, where the pollution is more. So we de-densify the emissions, at least bring the electric cars in the urban areas, so that we are removing some, we are just moving out this emission, which is concentrating at the one place. So in this way, we are moving to the electricity. Okay, so with all these backgrounds, I know the importance of the computers. I will touch this slide. Okay, so these are the current way of working. Any product, when you are designing it, we are using computers. CAEs means computer aided engineering. You know about this ANSYS, the CATIA, what is all the NXCAD, many CAD tools, CA analysis tools, or even the CFD tools like ANSYS means what is it, Star CCM, CFX, Fluent. There are many softwares. These all the softwares, mechanical tools are used for designing and analyzing the technologies. And then this will go for manufacturing, and we do many testings. Okay, this testings cost time, testing cost. Okay, so the product will come to the market with little later. We need to be competitive. So the future is the computer, the CAE will take more role, and the testing will reduce. It means our development time will be faster, and our development cost is going to be reduced. So this way the computers, the digital transformation is going to develop in the future development. Okay. And then one more thing. So this is the millennial mindset, right? You people, I cannot say only you people, even the current generation, the young engineers outside are millennial mindset. Even our finance minister said that the automotive sector is going down because most of the millennial people are using Ola or Uber, car sharing, not buying the car. So this is what the high aspirations. The gig economy is like a freelancers. Nowadays, not many people are interested to do a company job like employer and employee. They want to do freedom. They need to be some people are entrepreneurs doing their own business, but some people are freelancers. Means I am an engineer, I'm sitting at my home. Any clients coming, I will service. Different service I can do based on my knowledge. So this is the gig economy. People are, the way of their working is going to change. Even the industry is also going to take the support of these kind of freelancers, because there's no liability. If I'm taking an employee, it's as my asset. So this gig economy is even going to help the industry. So all these things, the people you can see in the right side, you have many things of availability. So anything you think now these days, these are available in a different way of business. Say money, the food, the two-wheeler, the cab or the furniture, anything is available in the e-commerce economy. So the way the business, the way the people's customers demanding also keeping change. The huge choices. So they are demanding more and more. So we need to be more diversified. Our business to be diversified. So this is also one of the challenge. Okay. So putting all to this, I'm going to come to the key point. What is this artificial intelligence or machine learning is all about? Okay, just observing our environment and make some decisions. Okay, you are seeing what you are seeing is I hope you can understand. Even though it's a pencil drawing, it's a donut, right? It's a donut with the chocolate in the top. Okay, how our brain is saying it's a donut. So there is a smell, there is a texture, the pattern of the donut, the circle with the hole and the chocolate syrup on the top, and there's a pattern, and also you have a very nice aroma from the donut, the color, and maybe if you want you can touch and see the softness, whether it's a normal bun or it is a donut. So when you touch, when you see, and when you are smells, all these signals are moving through your brain, through your neurons. All these connecting nerves are connected by the neurons. So the signals are passed to the neurons, and all the information go to your brain, and it is processing. It is getting the input from your nose, it's getting the input from your eyes, and it is getting input from your skin, touching. All the informations are touched, and you know that you are already taught that this is donut, this is donut, this is donut. So that if this color, this smell, and this comes, then this is a donut. So this is the way our human beings, human body is learning. Correct? So this is the way when this technology, this bio process, put it into the mathematical process is nothing but the artificial intelligence or machine learning. I hope you can understand now easily. So taking the inputs, the different inputs are coming, and process it and define that this could be the answer. So this need to be verified a few times. It means you need some validation. Say you are thinking, oh, you are asking, this is a donut? Yes. This is a donut. Then the smell is same, the touch is same, but the texture is different. there will be sugar coated something, or there will be some other color sprinkled something. Then it has to be validated again. The brain needs to do one more validation. Oh, this is also donut. Yes, this is also donut. This is another variant of the donut. So you need additional validations. So you are getting trained. Your brain is getting trained with some data, and then someone is going to validate. Means somebody else outside is saying the shop, but this is also donut, this is also donut. These are two different variants. If these colors are there, then this is a sugar variant, sugar donut. This is a chocolate donut. This is something else, almond donut, whatever donut. Because I'm not a regular eater of donuts, so I don't know about many variants, but I'm just saying. Okay, the plain donuts. So after the validation, the brain recognizes everything, and it has a set of donuts in your brain. Whenever you see something in the outside result, which quickly says, you no need to have a smell. You far away, you are seeing, you won't get the smell, but you by the eyes, only the signal, and then your brain is processed and say it's a donut without even a smell, because that is the brain processing. The same way, here also in machine learning, you take the data. There are many data. Say for the engine has to start. It means you need a fuel, you need a battery power, you need a key in, or spark plug should be in the position. You can say anything. You just example, I'm taking it. So when all these are set, then your vehicle can be started. So this is what the engine says. Otherwise, in your dashboard, it says some message. It means the battery is not low battery, or your handbrake is there, or your gear is not in the neutral. So this is way you can avoid this kind of some accidents or mishappenings. Means your system is steady and highlighted to start the engine. You need to clarify all these issues. So this way the intelligence works. Okay, so I just touch here. Maybe you can see this artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep dive. So this is a big subset, big set, artificial intelligence. Whatever the machine can do, smart way is artificial intelligence. Okay, the machine or the automated can do means it's artificial intelligence. Then come to the machine learning. Machine learning is a set of algorithms with a set of data. You can, with your statistics and your mathematical, you can categorize it. It means it's a machine learning. When it comes to the deep learning, it's more unstructured data, and the patterns will be there, like image processing. So you know about the autonomous cars, right? So tomorrow there is going to be a car without the driver. It means car will sense it. Some cow is in front of me. There is another vehicle is in front of me. There is going to be a signal. There is going to be a school is crossing. There is going to be a speed breaker. So how the car is going to realize this? It means take the pictures, the speed limit picture, the hospital picture, the no horns picture, which are a lane structure, the white lanes pictures, and then it will process it in the computer within the car, and it decides. It needs many sensors, many actuators. Then the computer decides and says that there is a person is in front of you. Even it takes the picture of the object in front, and it will analyze. Means we already said that if this object is in this shape, something, then it's the cattle. If it is in this shape, then it is a human being. If you have this round circle with some letters are there, it will read and it will say, oh, there is a speed limit 40. So the deep learning is nothing but including this image processing, the pattern. The machine will learn and instruct that there is something is going to in front of you. Please behave appropriately. So your brain, as like your brain, when you see the speed breaker sign in say 100 meters before, you are slowing down your car, correct? If not, you are seeing this, that, or your speed breaker is not painted with this zebra, this white paint, you are having a bumpy ride. Most of the time, bumpy ride, almost in the Indian roads, many of the roads. So after seeing this, the computer process it and say that, oh, there's another speed breaker is going to come, slow down. The car will apply brake by itself. So this way the deep learning is that. There is a more detailed algorithms. Okay. And the data science is the backbone of this, all the activities, because the data, whatever data you are having from measured from the car, taken from the environment, all these data are going to helpful for decision makings. Okay. So that is where the data science is, the overlap of that, and helps you. when you are seeing here, I can say you, this is the computer science. As I said, mechanical engineering is going to be an integral part of machine learning is you are having your domain knowledge. Say this is mechanical engineering. Okay. You are doing some analysis. You are using some mathematical reasonings, designs and things. So this is the overlap of the computer science part of machine learning, the data science. You are analyzing the data, taking the research and analysis and using it for your domain. So these are the new domain like a machine learning or data science, whatever you say. But this is not only for the computer science engineering. Computer science engineers are going to do a data infrastructure, data engineering. You can hear the data engineering is a computer science field, but data science is a multidisciplinary field. It is not only for computer science, it is for the mechanical engineers also, electronics engineers also, electrical engineers also, even civil engineers also need this. So this circle is multidisciplinary and everybody needs to share it. You know about this set and subset and all these mathematics, I mean sets you studied in your schools itself. So the data science, the machine learnings and this mathematical statisticals are all multidisciplinary. You need to apply for your mechanical domain, whatever the industry. You can see many applications. If you go to Google, you can see numerous applications available. You can study by yourself. Okay, so as the time is passing, so just take another 5 minutes to move around because I almost touched many of your the key content what I want to share. So I'm ready to take more questions from you. So one thing I want to say is the Industry 1.0 is 18th century, brought the machines, steam power to make the life easier. Here there is individual productions. When 19th century there is a Industry 2.0, there's a mass production. Electrical energy came and there is a mass production. Any product will be produced in a batch. So mass production came with the electrical energy. And in the 20th century, in 1970s, the computers came, the semiconductors came, and the automation, the robotics came to do a repeated jobs. So the industry, so Industry 4.0 is Industry 3.0 plus internet plus machine learnings. So that's it. There is no big change. The internet of things, the machine learning, the artificial intelligence are connecting with the automation. It is more smart. The industry has become more smart. The industry has become connected. Everybody is connected. Now you are connected with me. You are seeing me. You are seeing my audio. You are seeing my videos. Everything is connected. So these devices are connected. People are connected. The coming future is the machines are connected. The machine is connected with me. You not future, now itself, the Alexa and many things. You can operate your fan, you can operate your TV, you can operate your AC from your phone. Even you are sitting in another country, you can operate whatever inside your home. It's the same way in the automobile industry. From your home, you can switch on your engine, you can switch on your AC, so that in the hot summer, before you are getting into the car, if you are switch on AC 10 minutes before, your car is cooled enough before you are entering. So the vehicle, the car is connected with you. So this is the connected world. The world is connected everywhere. This is what the Industry 4.0. Okay, so I don't need to go too much on this, but all this utilizing the intelligence methods to reduce the efforts. So reduce the decision making. Say now you know about the robots. Okay, I think it's not showing. Robots are there. Now it's intelligent robots. Say for example, in the same line of assembly line in my company, you have you know about Renault Duster, you know about Renault Kwid, the small car. Renault Duster is a SUV, and the another car is a Renault Triber, is a MPV, the 3-seater car, 3-row car. Okay, in the same assembly line, one can be Kwid, another can be Duster, another can be Triber. But the robots understand what is coming in with the sensors and things, and it decides what is the windshield to be fitted, what kind of seat to be fitted, or what kind of spot welding to be done. So it is real, it is understanding, and it is realizing what is in front of them and what kind of action to be done on this car. So this is robotics. You know the cyber security, because when we are operating the car from somewhere, so anybody can hack, anybody can make the car into the accident. So we need to have a very, very tight cyber security of the data process, the data movement between the car and you, the car and cloud. So I'm just taking the car only for the example, but anything, any devices. So you need to be a more cyber security. So that is coming here. The cloud computing. Now we are using our small CPU, small hard disk. So initial we are using only 2 GB, 2 MB, 126, 128 GB data, all those things. Now we are talking about terabytes. So the future is you no need to have your own CPUs. You no need to keep your things. You just need a one monitor. Just you can compute everything in the cloud computings, right? There's Microsoft Azure is there, IBM Watson or Amazon AWS is there. So there are many cloud computing platforms are there. You can do your computing there. Even additive manufacturing. So this manufacturing, you know about the casting, you know about the machining, drilling, boring, forging, many. The future is 3D printing. You know about 3D printing for the small materials, but now the metal printing is coming. So this is a huge benefit because you can do a very complex manufacture objects, subjects, but with a very, very minimized weight. So additive manufacturing or the 3D printings are coming up where this artificial intelligence, machine learnings are heavily used. Then come to the augmented reality or virtual reality. Say now our shop is open. We are ready to sell a car, but the fear of people visiting to their because of this COVID-19. What is the solution? You can have a virtual reality, augmented reality, sitting at your home. You touch and feel your car, so that you can buy your car from anywhere. So this all these technologies are bringing up, need more intelligence, more scriptings, more programming, so that your mechanical, your component can be well connected with the softwares, so that you can have a very good experience of reality. So all these things are Industry 4.0. It is the Internet of Things. It is a connecting the devices. This all needs the smart way of computing is or using the data, because you no need to do every time the test and do prototypes and test it. It's a huge time and cost, so that the data what you are having will use to take a decision. So that is data analytics is playing the role. Okay, so that is what I said. The Industry 4.0 is a connected driver. Say sometimes the driver using the car abusively, and then he complains that my car damaged. But this data from the car is helpful for the driver and also helpful for the company. And also we can alert the people when this car is going to fail, or when this company is going to be fail or need a service, need the maintenance, so that it's both the company and also the driver or the owner of the car is protected. So this predictive maintenance, there are many, many ways these data are applicable. So now we have data, we have the technology, but we need a creative minds and innovative people like you for the future, how to use this data, right? You know about, if your Tamil people are there, maybe even Telugu, I think this movie is translated, Irumbuthirai. If you take this movie, the data is available. How we are going to use it? Some people are using in the misleading bad way. Some people are using in the good way. Some people can take it to the next level of creativity to use it as a benefit for the common people, for the society. So this helps to bring everywhere how we are going to use the data properly, handle it properly, apply it. Then is the future is going to be very, very helpful for the market. Okay, so I hope you know about the connected cars, the infotainment system, autonomous cars, shared service, and electric vehicles. These are the future of the automotive sector. So these, again, all these technologies need all these machine learning, intelligence, the computings, digital transformation to be success of seeing the autonomous car in the market, seeing the connected cars in the market, electric cars in the market, needs all this digital transformation to be utilized properly. Okay, so with this I stopped here. I can take the questions, because these all are I already touched.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Now let us take up the questions which are asked by the participants. Let me start with the first question. First question is by Balasurya. He has asked, what is the future scope of fresh mechanical engineers?
Okay, so fresh mechanical engineers, nowadays means in a say mechanical engineering company like a automobile industry, every year we hire around 300 to 400 fresh engineers. Say in that 100 will go for the mechanical engineering task, another 100 goes for the electrical knowledge, and another 200 goes for the ISIT, means software engineering, and more of a programming part. Okay, so the expectation is be more creative, be out of thinking, means you need all these academic courses, the results with the soft skills, and also the some of the analysis skills, right? So you need to come with this, because if you see 20 years back in a Breaks India, TV, Lucas, they hire the fresh people, and then they put it for the 2 years of dedicated training, and then they will be eligible, mean they are ready for the industry to do a job. In those cases, the people are ready to stay for 20 years in the company. But nowadays, as I talked about the millennial mindset, people want to earn farther, fast. People are want to learn fast, and they feel that they are matured enough in 1 year or 2 years. They say that, sir, I'm learned everything. Give me another job. So they are in the fast world. So the companies are not ready to invest too much now for training of people for 1 full year, and then waiting for him to work for only 2 years and he jumped the job. Many of the cases. So now companies also in ready to hire the people who are ready for me, ready to do a job. It means come with your academic knowledge, that is not sufficient. Come with your application knowledge, right? So bring your application engineering. So whatever you study the theoretical, you should know where it is applied or how it is applied. So application knowledge, application engineering is important when you are coming to the industry. This is a key expectation whenever as a technical manager. My expectation is you know that what you learned, you know what is that. So this is my key. Plus that your machine learning, artificial intelligence certification, or understanding about the Python scripting, these all are key. These are all are boosting it, because we are started with the Excel macros, and then VBA macros, then JavaScripts. Now we are in the Python scripts. So we do not the future. So the another one is people are agile, means flexible to learn, is another key set, means mindset people has to bring when they are coming for the industry.
Yes. Another question, sir. It is from PT Lee. He is asking, when can we expect unmanned cars in our country?
Unmanned cars in the country is a way forward, because as I said, the unmanned cars are going to take the pictures and see the surrounding, and it takes the decision. Okay, already even 5-10 years back itself, many of the countries applied the lane departure. Means when your car is crossing the lane, the white marks, then the car will alert you with a beep sound. You are crossing the lane. Please come back to your lane. It means the driver accidents to the sleeping when he moves here and there, or something when you are crossing something without knowing another car coming. So all these are established. But in India, even 50-60% of the roads doesn't have the lane markings. Even the lane markings are there. We do not know how to behave it. The lane marking with the cut means how to behave. The lane markings are continuous, how to behave it. So as a signboards, as a lane markings, as an infrastructure point, we are not yet ready to bring the unmanned cars. Okay, even across the globe, the unmanned cars are not completely 100% not ready, because it needs more sensors, and computations need to be more precise and more faster to take the decisions. So at present, the level is, if you are driving in the bumper to bumper traffic, the car can have a very minimum sensors, and it will see the in front of car, and it behaves just follow the car. Whenever the front car brakes, this car is also brakes. Whenever this car goes in 20 kilometers, so the traffic situation, the car can behave. And then the second level is when you are overtake, it has to come to the another lane to see. So it means it needs to understand what is the car behind me, what is the car in front of me. So it needs little more cameras and sensors to decide how to I can take a overtake or not. The third level is it comes to a city junction. It has to take a decision that I have to go left, right, or straight. So the car has to be more matured to take a decision. So so that level, the technologies are available but not matured. So if you are asking for India, We need to develop our infrastructure. The signboards are the speed breakers, the schools. There are many signboards has to be matured enough, stable, so that we can bring up this technology for India.
Next question, sir. It is from Mr. Narayan Namo. Kindly list some softwares to be known for mechanical engineers in this arena.
Okay. So as I mentioned, as a digital transformation, we can split into the two areas. One is structures, strength and durability, or reliability of the components. Say the stress and strain, whether this component can take this measure of fatigue loads, how many times it can run. So these are strength and durability. So this is called as FEA, right? Finite element analysis or finite element methods. So for this, there are ANSYS is there, CATIA is there, and Abacus is there, Nastran is there. These are analysis tools. And then you have the CAD tools like NXCAD, even a CATIA, or other tools are there. You might be the Autodesk is there. So these are the CAD softwares to develop the models, and there are analysis tools like ANSYS, Nastran, Abacus, Adams, and many other softwares. Okay. So if come to the another pillar is fluid dynamics, thermofluid dynamics. Say wherever the fluids, the air and fuel is moving, is a fluid dynamics. It means you can see there is a CFD, computational fluid dynamics. This is another domain where you can use it. The tools like Fluent, even ANSYS is, ANSYS Fluent is there, Star CCM, Siemens product is there, CFX is there, and there are many other softwares. These are used for analyzing the fluid dynamics or thermodynamics analysis. Okay, so this is called computational fluid dynamics. Another area is programming. So bringing this machine learnings, Python scripting, Python programming, because even we use these softwares, we need automations. Not only the machines need automations, but softwares also need automation. Nowadays, most of the basic computer jobs, the engineering jobs like meshing your component or running your execution, we don't need an engineer like you or me. The computer can do it. The computer can automatically mesh it. Computer can choose the boundary conditions. It can check and it can execute it. So for this, you need automation knowledge like a JavaScript, VBA macros, Python scripts. These are the additional knowledges which helps you to do many automation jobs. And then comes the intelligent, artificial intelligence and machine learnings, where these R programs and many programs, or at least strengthen your probability and statistical analysis skills, regressions, all those things. These are the fundamentals for the future, these digital transformations. Okay, so equip yourself on this direction helps you to be prepared for future internal industry 4.0.
Next question, sir. The question is from Mr. Hariharandi. We saw a few videos initially which beautifully explains the innovation that we may have in the future. My question is, what is the level of advancement we have achieved in the AI and ML in the automotive field? An example would be better to explain as well. Tesla is considered as the technical ace, which uses AI and ML in the automotive industry.
Yes.
AI and ML in the automotive industry. Likewise, what is the current extreme advancement of Indian industries with the AI ML in the automotive field?
Indian industry or global industry, the problem is same. So for India is very specific because our infrastructure is not ready. We are sitting here, we are from a multinational company. We are supporting Renault and Nissan, the French and Japanese companies. So as you already said, the Tesla is introducing all those technologies well in advance, because basically they are highly innovative on that front. The challenges for the companies like the mass production like a Suzuki or Renault or Nissan or Toyota are mass production cars. So still they are looking at the cars which has to be produced. Their main business is more of smaller cars. So bringing these technologies takes more time for these companies, because this technology also coming with a cost. Correct. So even some luxury cars in our means even other than Tesla is also available, but at the cost. So this cost is only things bringing into the Indian industry. Another one is bringing into the Indian cars is another one is the infrastructure. Okay, the Tesla is already brought it this autonomous car, but still I say it's not matured enough. because you can read there are fatal accidents happening because still these sensors, the computation times are not matured enough to take a decision quickly. So they also put some their aggressive feet little backwards to again regroup it to make it more perfect, because the purpose of autonomous cars is to reduce the fatalities, the accidents. The main objective is reduce the accidents. So because the 90% of the road accidents are because of the human errors. So still I can say the technologies are not fully matured enough, but we are going by step. As I said, the lane departure is there, drowsiness is there, and the bumper to bumper is there. It's called a ProPilot. The parking is there. You can, if you have a very designated marking, is the parking means your car can park it by itself. These are all the things are already available. Even the other than Tesla, all the normal mass production, other companies also have these technologies. But based on the countries, based on infrastructure, they can apply, and also the affordability of the people to buy these technologies. Okay.
Yes. Let us take last two questions, sir. Question from Harshvardhan. How will COVID-19 pandemic affect the future of automotive industry?
Okay, so immediate effect will be we need to save our cost, means cash inflow, because we don't have a sales outlets working now. We are not manufacturing now. So the immediate impact might be we don't have much cash to build a new product immediately. But whatever the vital project going on, we are going to bring it. Okay. So it's only say this impact will be another 1 or 2 years or another 2-3 years, it will be there. But it will not completely change. But the way of working is going to change. The work from home, on the many cases, it's helping many people. So the work from home can be a new normal for the future. And also the data in this, as the cash flow is, we need to save the money. We need to see the different way of working. The one way of working is bring more machine learnings and bring more artificial intelligence to the systems. So we are forced to reduce number of testings as we cannot afford much, as the situation is not so comfortable. So this all brings this digital transformation faster into the automotive industry.
Yes. Last question, sir. It is from Jay Selvam. Question is, can this AI and ML replace physics and engineering based identification? Does this mean we don't have to worry about physics and engineering based decisions? Is it only going to be data and data crunching for feature recognition?
I can say no. Physics is physics. Physics is fundamental. The data are coming from data are coming from the testings are coming from the car, means it is only specific to that car. Okay. So this data will be used to take some decisions. But the prediction modeling, the physics, when you have a model or prediction by physics only, you can apply for any other applications. Okay, so physics is must, and the future is the data from the physics model will be applied to take a decision faster. Say physics models will run for 3 hours. I can say it's a simple, you know about the fine determinant analysis, fine CFD. This CFD analysis will run the prediction physics models run for 3 hours or 10 hours, or even some bigger models will run for 1 week, 1 month, correct? So we will run a very minimum of physics models, take the data, use the intelligence to run many more cases. So in this way, the physics models is mandatory, but its usage will be limited with machine learnings. Okay, so nobody can say physical modeling is no use. Physical modeling will exist, and physical modeling and some level of testing have to exist to validate our machine learning analysis. So machine learning will take more portions, but it doesn't mean that physics and the physical modeling or the testing will go out of the scenario. So they are mandatory, they are the foundations.
Thank you, sir. We have almost reached our end of the webinar. So before we conclude, I want to thank you, sir, for your wonderful presentation and very useful presentation and informative presentation. on the topic related to artificial intelligence in the field of automotive industry and sharing your industry experience. First of all, I wish to extend my hearty thanks to you. Thanks to our speaker, Dr. Anand Gurupadam, DGM from Renault Nissan, for accepting our request to deliver a webinar on the topic role of AI and ML in the future automotive industry. I thank our Dean Sir, Dean ENT, and HOD Mechanical Engineering for extending support to organize this webinar. I also thank all the participants for joining the webinar and making this event a grand success. Thank you all.